Okay, we're working with a couple of problems here because it was just the 4 bars that I had copied and pasted. Now we have a crash at every 4 bars and also the kick doing thump thump thump. Hey, what's up? This is Laidback Luke, DJ and producer. Thank you for tuning in. Today it's all about extended versions and how to make that. It's kind of becoming a lost art with all the short edits on streaming around. Why do we need extended versions? They are specifically needed for DJs in order for them to mix from the one track into the other track. The sections that we extend our tracks with are the mixing in or the mixing out sections for DJs. Back in the day, oh boy, I sound so old. But back in the day, towards the end of the 90s, all of the tracks that came out on vinyl used to have an actual 1 minute or 1.5 minute intro beats and outro beats. Edits were rarely heard unless you would take the track out to radio, and on the radio they would play the shorter versions, the radio edits. So 1 minute long, this would be 32 bars. Today we'll talk about 16 bars, intros and outros. So it's a bit of a guide to extended versions here. This is how I do it. Check it out and feel if this works for you. All right, let's dive into Ableton. Let's dive into my new track with Rafi waiting for you, and we'll make the extended version from there. All right, we're diving into the project. And so here's my initial setup. Then I made the edit and then I made the extended. But what I'll do is, especially for this vlog, I'm just gonna delete it. Bam. It's gone. So what I'll do now is I'll just grab the edit. I'll just loop this whole section, and then when I grab the black bar up on top here, I can just Command C, copy this, and then Command V, paste it over here. So now we have an exact copy of the edit right here. And now this edit will become my extended. What I like doing is actually taking a real busy part of the track. Settle for this part. This part is 4 bars long. I'll loop this. Again, I'll grab the black bar, Command C, copy this, and I'll just boldly paste it over here. This section will become my extended section, and I'll make it 16 bars. So I'm just gonna paste these 4 bars here, Command D, duplicate this over here. So now there's 8 bars, which I'll make a sort of like an outro section of. My personal preference is to make the outro first before making the intro. I think it's really handy just to have the outro set up so I can take those beats from there and use those for my intro as well. So outro first, and what we want to do for DJs is take out all of the melodic elements, take out all of the vocals in there. The feeling is, what does a DJ need to mix out this track properly? And usually the emphasis is on beats and as least elements as you can possibly have. Potentially you could just strip out everything and just have the beat in there, right? But the trick is to have that type of feel in there but still make it sound like as if it's part of the track. So that's the whole key right here. How is it still the track and still has the emphasis on just the beats? Okay, so first thing we'll take out is the vocals. Obviously, no vocals in this section here. And what else? There's these chords. We could keep those in for now for the first 8 bars of it, but let's see how it sounds right now. Okay, so I'm gonna need to make a choice here. So what I'll do is put an auto filter on the bleep, and let's make that a little less in the high ends. Let's filter that a little bit. There we go. It's more tucked in, a little more held back, and I'm thinking of doing less percussion stuff in there as well. Just took out the hi-hat and the top loop, and now it sounds like this. Kind of like a simpler version of what was before, right? Let's just quickly listen out if it transitions properly from the last part of the song into the outro. Hang on, I gotta automate that filter here. So pressing A to see all of the automation here, and I want this guide to be on in this section. Command B, it'll be on here. Let's listen. That sounds like an outro to me already, right? I'm gonna press on this whole loop section here, and I'll do Command-Shift-D to copy that whole thing over. So now we have 16 bars of outro right here. I will not have the bleep on the last section. And what I'll do as well is I'll filter out the bass. As if I'm DJing, no bass in the bass line. So I'm just gonna put a little extra EQ on here on the bass group, right? And take out all of the bass. Let's see how that's sitting here. Nice and light. Maybe I'll just filter that over in the mids as well. So you hear how the emphasis is on the beats right now, where you still hear a little bit of bass, but it's not present at all. And this sort of thing will really help DJs transition. I love it when the DJ life and the producer life comes together like this, where we're actually catering towards DJs in this vlog. And I have a whole producer course out there, especially made for DJs that want to start producing. It's my edits, mashups, and bootlegs course that I did together with digitaldjtips.com, where I go in depth as to what DJs need to start picking up production and how to mix that type of DJ vibe with what you want to hear and play out type of vibe, getting you into producing and taking your stuff to the next level. Make sure to check it out in the link below. So again, I'm just gonna automate this, pressing A, and then it should be on right here. Now what often really helps a lot with intros and outros is actually fading the sounds in and fading the sounds out. So I am thinking that I could fade out the bass line right here. So I'm gonna automate the gain knob here as well. Pressing A, and then I want it to go from 0 dBs here, and I just double click this, right? So let's see how it sounds when it's all the way like this in the end. So it fades out all the way until the end, and I'm pretty happy with that. Now the transition from the filtered bleep onto this section was a little bit harsh, so I'm gonna automate the volume on this as well. I still have a utility with automation right here, so I'm just gonna utilize that. Let's fade it out from here to here. See how that sounds. Nice. Okay, so what I don't like about this outro is that I have the bass going into a different key at the end. I kind of want to keep it straight all the way until the end, and not to confuse DJs or have that type of emotion here, because we don't really need it right here in the song. Which in that case, I'm just going to repeat this section of the bass. I'll probably need to draw back in my automation doing that. Yep, but that's okay. Drawing that back in, that's not a problem, and just making sure this is still on, this is not on, so I'm putting that back on, and we're back in shape. And you know what, I like this little section as well. Maybe I'll utilize this in the end, just to have a little fade out until the end. Here we go, some effects, right? It's the reverse cymbal and a little bit of a fill. Let's see how that sounds. Really nice. This is a little bit loud, so I'm just gonna go into the actual audio file itself and alter the gain, maybe -2 dBs. Yeah, now it's subtle. I like that. I like that. Okay, so our outro. Let's listen out. Okay, we're working with a couple of problems here because it was just the 4 bars that I had copy it and paste it. Now we have a crash at every 4 bars, and also the kick doing pum 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 in the beginning of the loop is there every 4 bars. So be mindful of that. We're just going to fix that right now. So this crash, I don't want it to be every 4 bars, just 8 bars. Diving into the kick drum, which is going here. I gave it a little different color, which is going tick, tick, tick right on the beginning. I don't want that over there, so you know what? I'll do the whole thing like that. There we go. Potentially for the last 8 bars, you can also EQ out the bass frequencies in the kick drum. This will only benefit DJs, and this will only help DJs transition into the next track. So I'll show you that. Again, I'm just gonna stack on another EQ here and then just take out the bass EQs in the kick drum. It's gonna be on in this section. There we go. How does that sound? Give it a little bit more bass right here. And you know what? Over here as well, you could do the same thing when it comes to fading out volume. Just adding another utility here, and how about I just fade the kick drum out here? Mind you, it could vary per track. Right now I'm feeling like, oh, how does that sound? So I'll just do it, see if I like it. Fading the kick drum out. Ooh, I like that. And then the effects. And it's gone. And there's the 16 bars of extended version, extended DJ beats that you want in your track, especially for DJs. And that's how you do it. And one of the mindsets you can keep is whenever you take the bass EQ out of the bass line or the bass EQ out of the kick drum even, and it's weird how that works in human psyche. Whenever you take the EQ out of the bass, that you think, oh, the track is finished or something. But it's good to keep in mind. If you are liking this video, if you are liking these type of tutorials, make sure to give me a like right now. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell as well. It's good for my channel. It's good for the algorithm, so I pop up more. I get to see you more, and you get to see me more. And I'll keep on making these type of videos. It's greatly appreciated. Let's dive back into Ableton. All right, the intro. We start the intro with the outro because we have this whole 16 bars of outro beats, and one could think, oh, that's simple, right? We're just going to copy this whole section and put it in the intro section. It doesn't work this way because now when you have the outro section, it has a certain dynamic to it where towards the end you filter out the track, right? But in the intro, we want the opposite. We want you to filter in the track. So what I like doing is taking these first 8 bars of the outro and copying this over to the intro section. And over here, I want to make 16 bars of space. So I'm just literally going to select 16 bars, press Command I to insert space here. And there's my space for the intro. I will then copy those beats I took from the outro. So nothing happened, right? It's literally the outro beats. But you can already hear this is way too much for an intro. Try and not reveal the bass line because you want to keep that for the drop, right? Let's repeat this section. I'm just going to loop it and then press Command D. Again, I'm absolutely taking the bass line out here. I'm not sure if the beep should be in here either, but pressing 0, I'll just deactivate it. And maybe I should even have chords here because I don't want to have just beats. Let's hear it. I'll have the chords in there a little bit. So this sounds like a DJ intro to me already. But there's quite a lot of beats going on. I might just want to opt to not have the hi-hat in here. Taking those out as well. Am I happy with the toms in this section? Should the toms be out? So again, I've made thousands of intros and outros in my lifetime, but it's still always a game of just listening what fits in the moment. Ooh, there's already a little fade out going, or fade in going, fade out going. And I like that, but I want it to be an 8 bar fade in and maybe start it even on a lower volume. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so this will just be normal volume. Let's activate it. So I'm already thinking about the next 8 bars. So in the next 8 bars, more things will come in, probably more percussion. I have another bonus at the end of the video. It's how to render your new versions really quick. Possibly something you didn't think about, so make sure you stay tuned for that, as I'll tell you all the way in the end. The bass line I will need to mute once again. Let's just mute this. And maybe I'll use the trick with the bleep right here. I see that the filter is still on here, but maybe I'll just fade in the bleep right here. I'm not too sure if it's gonna need to be a 4-bar fade in or a full 8-bar fade in. You can always listen, right? And then I'll just add some hi-hats here, just the open hi-hat. So we're about to transition from the first 8 bars of the intro into the second 8 bars of the intro. You know what? I might just do that completely the other way around. So there you go, you know, purely on improv, purely on the moment. Let's just begin with the bleep in there, but on quite a low volume. And then I'll save the chords for the second 8 bars. And you know what? I'll shuffle the hi-hat in here. That'd be nice. And to transition from this section into the actual track beginning, I'm gonna steal the same effects that I have at the end. These two. I'm gonna steal those and I'll put them right before the actual track begins.
Our friends already left.
I think I need the hall kick back in here, so activating that.
Our friends already left.
Now what you could do with the first 8 bars of the kick drum is pretty much the same as we did all the way in the end to activate this EQ, as if the DJ is EQing without bass EQ when the track comes in, right? So I'm gonna just draw this EQ on the first 8 bars of the intro, and it needs to be turned on here. And maybe I won't do the tick 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 right here. Straightening that out. And so now our intro beats sound like this. See if we are happy with this. And there it is. And don't worry if it sounds really boring in the intro, where it's like, oh, we need more effects, we need more automation, we need more this and that producer tricks. For DJs, it's not really required. Literally, no one is going to listen to this on streaming or in their cars and think, oh, wow, these beats take really long and nothing is happening. We have to think of DJs in a club or at festivals mixing this in between other tracks, maybe over an existing drop, maybe over an existing chorus part of a track, like busy sections of tracks. And so then it's really nice to have these empty type of sections where the focus is purely on the beats and the DJ can do his thing with it. What I also want you to realize about making these sections is that you don't need to put in new elements in the track. You can use every existing element in the track. So there's no real stress as to coming up with more stuff here. You can use what's already going on in the track to your advantage. What comes first? What should you start with? Some people start with the extended versions and from there make the edits. Some people start with the short version and from there on build it out to an extended version? And my answer to that is it depends. It depends on how you're feeling with the track, if it's a collab, how the demo is, what you're working with. And the real answer is it doesn't matter. What matters is that in the end you possibly have a version that works well for the streaming lengths, and you have a version that goes well for DJs with a proper intro and outro, and possibly even a longer piece in the middle section of the track. It all depends on your vibe, what you're feeling, and what you're working with. Sometimes I feel like 8 bars is enough when I'm mixing, or I'm in a festival setting and it needs to be fast. 8 bars could be sufficient, both for intro, both for outro. You could opt for making the intro 8 bars and the outro 16 bars, or vice versa. And to make them 8 bars is super simple. You can do it in 2 ways. What you could do is literally take the middle 8 out of the intro and see how that sounds. Literally 8 bars, counting from the first 4 bars, 8 bars here. And what we'll do is Command-Shift-X. And now it's an 8 bar intro. Let's listen out how that sounds. Works pretty well, right? Obviously it needs a little bit of refinement, and I am just gonna adjust the volume automation on the chords momentarily. See, because this comes in a little bit hot right here, and I can just take it down easily, and it sounds much better now. I could also opt to just have the kick drum have its full EQ, the whole 8 bars, which is fine and really easy to do, right? So we'll start here. And there it is, super simple. We could also do the same thing for the outro beats. Pick your poison. You could choose to just use these 8 bars or these 8 bars. And let's just take these 8 bars out, and you could do it DJ edit style, right? So we're just gonna do Command-Shift-X here. Boom, it's gone. Press play, see how it sounds, see how it transitions. Yeah, that's not bad actually. As a little bonus, I'm just gonna have the last with the light EQ on the kick. So this will be the kick normal, and then towards the end, it'll be really light. And as simple as that, it's here. Extended versions like the one we were working on today of my new track with Rafi, Waiting For You. Where can you get those? I actually still go to beatport.com for all my extended versions, and literally any song you stream, you hear out, you can get on Beatport, and you can type in extended version and it's all there. So mine as well, make sure to check it out, make sure to buy it there if you like it. Comes in really handy when I'm not feeling like DJing the short streaming versions. How I quickly render out my versions, and you've been seeing this light orange pinkish bar up on top, and within that bar there's actually nothing. This is a MIDI track. There's no plugins here, there's no notes in the MIDI notes, but these are actually my versions. So we worked on this whole vlog, and for me to be able to quickly render out versions is I'll just make this one big bar. So I'm just going to select all of the sections, and I'm going to press Command J for join and Command R to rename this into extended. Now if I want to render my extended version, it's literally here. So the beginning of this bar starts where the first kick drum starts, and the end of this bar ends at the end of the track. Now sometimes you have some effects at the end of the track, and you just need to listen out if there's effects or anything. Let's listen. No, none at all. But say you have a little bit of a reverb or a delay at the end. As long as the signal goes, you can extend it, and then there's your full extended version. Say you come out of producing your track and you select this and you choose export audio and video, and you can export this right here. And when you get to export your track, it'll literally render the whole track as long as this bar is. Quite convenient, and then you don't need to select, from the first kick drum to all the way until whatever else bar or effects you have going on. It's really easy, it's just one click and you render. And since we broke down my new track waiting for you in this vlog, here's an opportunity for you to officially remix it. My label Mixmash is currently doing a competition with labelradar.com. Make sure to check it out. And I'm excited to hear what you've got for this remix. Alright, a proper tutorial for you. It's been a while. If you've enjoyed that, make sure to give me a like and hit that subscribe button right now. Hit that notification bell as well. Get me up there in the algorithm. It is my pleasure to make more tutorials as well. If you have any suggestions for tutorials coming up, make sure to leave it down in the comments below. I'll have a look. I have all of this knowledge to share with you still. So thank you for tuning in and make sure you check back in for the next one. I was Laidback Luke. Catch you back here. Until then, L's up.